Close your eyes for a moment. Can you hear it? There's a sound playing in the background of your life, a rhythm, a melody, a frequency that's been with you since birth. Most people never realize they're playing an instrument in life's grand orchestra. But you're about to discover exactly which instrument you are and why you've been playing that same song your entire life. I'm going to show you 4 instruments in just a moment. And the one that calls to you, the one that makes your soul vibrate, is going to reveal your deepest archetype, the role you were born to play. Carl Jung spent his entire life studying these patterns, these universal roles that exist in every human story. And today, you're going to see yourself more clearly than you ever have before. But before we begin, I need you to understand something. This isn't just entertainment. This is recognition. When you see your instrument, you're going to feel in your chest. You're going to feel seen in a way that might actually make you uncomfortable, because we spend so much energy pretending to be something we're not. We pick up instruments that don't belong to us. We try to play someone else's song. And that dissonance, that off-key feeling in your life, that's what's been exhausting you. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you 4 instruments: the drum, the flute, the piano, and the harp. Don't think too hard. Don't analyze. Just notice which one pulls at something deep inside you, which one feels like home, which one feels like the truth you've been avoiding. Ready? Look at these 4 instruments carefully. The drum, powerful and primal. The flute, delicate and transcendent. The piano, structured and commanding. The harp, graceful and healing. Which one are you? Take your time. Pause this video if you need to. Let your subconscious choose. Because your logical mind will lie to you. It'll pick the instrument you think you should be. But your soul knows the truth. It's already been playing that instrument your whole life. Have you chosen? Good. Now, let's see what you've been hiding from yourself. Let's start with the drum. If you chose the drum, you are the warrior archetype. And I don't mean warrior like someone who fights for no reason. I mean warrior in the ancient sense. The protector. The one who stands at the boundary between chaos and order. You are the heartbeat, the pulse, the rhythm that keeps everything else alive. Here's what most people don't understand about you. You didn't choose to be this way. You were forged this way. Probably early in life, something happened that required you to be strong. Maybe you had to protect someone. Maybe you had to survive something. Maybe you just realized that the world was dangerous and someone needed to stand guard. So you picked up the drum, and you've been beating it ever since. The drum is the oldest instrument in human history. Before language, before melody, there was rhythm. There was the heartbeat of the mother, the footsteps of the hunt, the warning beat of danger approaching. And you, drum, you are connected to that primal energy. You operate on instinct. You move fast. You trust your gut because your gut has kept you alive. But here's where it gets complicated. Society doesn't always want warriors, especially not now. We live in a world that values politeness over power, compliance over courage. And you make people uncomfortable because you can't fake it. You can't pretend everything is fine when it's not. You can smell weakness. You sense danger. You're always scanning the room, always ready, always on guard. And that's exhausting, isn't it? Being the drum means you never fully relax, because if you stop beating, if you stop holding the rhythm, you fear everything will fall apart. You've made yourself responsible for other people's safety, other people's survival, other people's success. And deep down, you're terrified that if you stop being strong, you'll be abandoned. Let me tell you something about warriors that nobody talks about. You're not just strong. You're terrified. Every warrior carries a wound. That's what made you pick up the drum in the first place. Someone hurt you. Someone failed to protect you. And you decided, never again, not to me, not to anyone I love. So you became the protector you wish you had. But here's the shadow side, and you need to hear this. You confuse strength with hardness. You think if you show softness, you'll be weak. So you've cut yourself off from your own tenderness, from your own vulnerability. You've built walls so thick that even the people who love you can't reach you. And secretly, you're lonely. You're surrounded by people you're protecting, but you don't let anyone protect you. Carl Jung called this the warrior's paradox. You fight so others can have peace, but you yourself never experience peace. You're always at war, even when there's no enemy. Your nervous system is stuck in survival mode, and your body is paying the price. Tension in your shoulders, jaw clenched, insomnia, because the drum never stops beating. So what do? How do you heal this? You need to understand that laying down the drum doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting. Trusting that the world won't collapse if you rest. Trusting that someone else can hold the rhythm for a while. Trusting that you are valuable not because of what you do, but because of who you are. The warrior's final battle is not against an external enemy. It's against the belief that you have to fight alone. Your gift to the world is courage, protection, strength. You move when others freeze. You stand when others run. You are the backbone of every family, every team, every community. But your healing comes from learning that true strength includes the courage to be soft, to let others see your wounds, to admit when you're tired. That's the evolved warrior. That's the drum that knows when to beat loud and when to rest in silence. Now, let's talk about the flute. If you chose the flute, you are the poet, the mystic, the dreamer. You are not of this world. Not really. You exist in the spaces between things, in the quiet moments, in the questions that have no answers. You are air and spirit, and something ancient that most people have forgotten how to hear. Here's the truth about you that you probably already know, but pretend not to. You've always felt different. Like you were born on the wrong planet. Like everyone else got a handbook for life, and you missed the distribution day. While other people were focused on success, money, status, you were staring at the sky wondering why the clouds move the way they do. While others were networking, you were noticing the way light filters through leaves. You live in a different dimension. The flute is the instrument of breath, of spirit, of the invisible made audible. And you, flute, you are a translator. You take feelings that have no words and turn them into something others can understand. You might be an artist, a writer, a musician, or you might work a normal job and feel completely alienated from it. Because your real work isn't what you do for money. Your real work is sensing what others can't sense, feeling what others won't feel, seeing what others refuse to see. You are deeply, almost painfully sensitive. You absorb the emotions of everyone around you. You walk into a room and immediately know the mood, the tension, the unspoken grief. You can't explain how you know. You just do. And most of the time, you wish you didn't. Because this gift feels more like a curse. You can't turn it off. You can't unsee. You can't unfeel. Here's where the pain comes in. The world doesn't value mystics anymore. We worship logic, data, proof. And you? You deal in mystery, in paradox, in things that can't be measured. So you've learned to hide. You've learned to pretend you're normal. You've learned to translate your deep, cosmic insights into small talk so people don't think you're weird. But every time you do that, a piece of you dies. The shadow side of the flute is disconnection. Not from others, from yourself. You float so far into spiritual realm that you forget you have a body. You forget you need to eat, sleep, pay bills, exist in physical reality. You use your imagination as an escape. You retreat into fantasy because reality is too harsh, too loud, too concrete. And before you know it, you're completely dissociated from your own life. Jung would say you're living too much in the collective unconscious and not enough in your individual existence. You're so connected to the universal that you've lost your particular. You feel everyone's pain, but ignore your own. You see the meaning in everyone's story, but can't find purpose in your own life. You're the mystic who can guide others, but has completely lost yourself. And relationships? Difficult, because you need someone who can meet you in the depths. Someone who isn't afraid of silence, of darkness, of questions without answers. But most people want surface. They want easy. They want comfortable. And you? You're none of those things. You're intense without trying to be. You're deep without meaning to be. And people either love you desperately or can't handle you at all. Here's what you need to understand. Your sensitivity is not a weakness. Your ability to feel everything, to sense the invisible, to connect with the mystical. That's your superpower. But you have to ground it. You have to bring it down from the clouds and into your body. You have to learn that spirituality isn't about escaping the material world. It's about bringing spirit into matter. That's alchemy. That's real magic. Your healing comes from embodiment, from remembering you're not just a soul having a human experience. You're also a human having a soul experience. You need nature. You need to feel your feet on the earth. You need practices that bring you back into your body. Yoga, dance, anything that reminds you that you're here now in this physical form. Your gift to the world is beauty, transcendence. You remind people that there's more than what they can see. You create art, music, poetry, or simply a way of being that makes others pause and feel something real. You're the flute that plays the song of the soul. And the world needs that song now more than ever. Now, let's go to the piano. If you chose the piano, you are the conductor, the ruler, the architect. You are the one who brings order to chaos, who takes scattered notes and creates symphony. You see the big picture. You understand structure. You know how all the pieces fit together. And piano, you conduct life's orchestra. Let me tell you who you really are. You're the person everyone comes to when things need to get done. You're the planner, the organizer, the one who thinks 3 steps ahead. While everyone else is improvising, you've already composed the entire piece. You see patterns. You create systems. You turn chaos into harmony. And you're probably really good at it. The piano is unique because it's both percussion and string. It's both rhythm and melody, structure and creativity. And that's you. You have 1 foot in logic and 1 foot in art. You can be analytical and emotional. You can be disciplined and spontaneous. You contain multitudes. And you know how to orchestrate all those different parts into something coherent. You're a natural leader, but not because you need power. You lead because you see what needs to happen, and you have the ability to make it happen. You're the CEO, the director, the parent who runs a household, the friend who plans every trip. You're not controlling because you're insecure. You're controlling because you genuinely believe your way is better. And honestly, it usually is. But here's the cost. The piano is a heavy instrument. It can't be moved easily. And you, ruler, you carry enormous weight. You've made yourself responsible for outcomes, for results, for everyone's success. And that pressure is crushing you. Because if something goes wrong, you believe it's your fault. If someone fails, you think you should have planned better. If chaos emerges, you feel you didn't conduct properly. The shadow side of the piano is rigidity. You become so attached to your structure, your system, your way of doing things that you've lost flexibility. You can't improvise. You can't let things unfold naturally. You need to control every note, every timing, every dynamic. And when life doesn't follow your composition, when people don't play their parts the way you wrote them, you become frustrated, angry, resentful. Jung called this the king's burden. You sit on the throne, but the throne is lonely. You make all the decisions, but you carry all the responsibility. People look to you for answers, but who do you look to? You've isolated yourself at the top. You've convinced yourself that you have to have it all figured out, that you can't show doubt, confusion, or uncertainty. Because if the conductor falters, the whole orchestra falls apart. And relationships? Complicated. Because you need a partner who can match your intensity, your vision, your drive. But you also need someone who will challenge you, who will tell you when your control is actually fear, who will remind you that life isn't a composition you write. It's a song you discover. And that's hard for you, because vulnerability feels like weakness. Surrender feels like failure. Here's what most people don't understand about you. Underneath all that structure, all that planning, all that control, you're actually deeply creative. You're not a tyrant. You're an artist. You see possibility where others see limitation. You see potential where others see problems. You're not trying to dominate. You're trying to create something beautiful out of the mess. But you need to learn the difference between conducting and controlling. A conductor doesn't force the music. They draw it out. They listen to each instrument. They allow space for interpretation. They know when to direct and when to let the musicians play freely. You need to trust the orchestra. Trust that people know their own instruments. Trust that the music will emerge even if it doesn't sound exactly like you imagined. Your healing comes from letting go, from recognizing that you don't have to carry everything. That collaboration isn't a threat to your vision. It's an enhancement. That mistakes aren't failures. They're part of the composition. The most beautiful music has dissonance, has unexpected notes, has moments of chaos that resolve into something even more profound than what was planned. Your gift to the world is structure, vision. You take dreams and make them real. You turn ideas into systems. You create frameworks that allow others to flourish. You build businesses, families, communities that actually work. You're the piano that holds the entire composition together. And the world needs your organization, your clarity, your leadership. Finally, let's talk about the harp. If you chose the harp, you're the lover, the healer, the empath. You are the sound of beauty itself, of grace, of something so tender it almost hurts. You are the strings that vibrate with every touch. You feel everything, and you want everyone else to feel everything too. Here's who you really are. You're the person who holds space, who creates safety, who makes others feel seen, heard, understood. You walk into a room, and the energy shifts. People soften around you. They open up. They tell you things they've never told anyone. And you hold those secrets with such care, such reverence, such love, because you understand that being human is hard. And sometimes all someone needs is to be witnessed with compassion. The harp is the instrument of angels, of heaven, of divine love. And you, harp, you are a channel for love. Not romantic love necessarily, though you experience that intensely too, but universal love, the kind that sees the divine in everyone, the kind that forgives, that understands, that accepts people exactly as they are. You're deeply relational. Your identity is built through connection. You need people. You need intimacy. You need deep, meaningful relationships where souls touch. Small talk feels like death to you. Surface-level friendships feel empty. You want to know what keeps people awake at night, what makes them cry, what makes them hope. You want access to the depths, and you give people that same access to you. You're an open book, vulnerable, raw, real. You don't wear masks because you don't see the point. You believe that authenticity is the only way to truly connect. So you show up fully. And when you love someone, you love them completely. You see their potential. You nurture their growth. You believe in them even when they don't believe in themselves. But here's the painful part. Your openness makes you incredibly fragile. Every harsh word lands like a blow. Every rejection feels like annihilation. Every betrayal breaks something in you that's hard to repair because you give people access to your core. And when they damage that, when they take your vulnerability and use it against you, it doesn't just hurt. It makes you question whether it's safe to be you. The shadow side of the harp is codependency. You confuse love with self-sacrifice. You've made yourself responsible for other people's happiness. You think if you just love them enough, heal them enough, give them enough, they'll finally be whole. But you can't heal people who don't want to be healed. You can't love people into loving themselves. And trying to do that will destroy you. Jung would say you've lost your boundaries. You've merged your identity with others. You don't know where you end and they begin. You feel their pain as if it's your pain. You carry their burdens as if they're your burdens. You sacrifice your needs, your dreams, your life, believing that's what love requires. But that's not love. That's martyrdom. And it's killing you. And here's the hardest truth. Some people will use you. They'll take your healing, your love, your energy, and give nothing back because you've trained them to. You've shown them that you'll always be there no matter how they treat you, that you'll always forgive, always understand, always stay. So they don't have to change. They don't have to grow. They don't have to reciprocate because you're the harp that keeps playing no matter how roughly they pluck your strings. Relationships for you are everything, but they're also your greatest source of pain. Because you love people more than they love you. You invest more. You feel more. You give more. And you're constantly disappointed, constantly hurt, constantly wondering why you're not enough. why your love isn't enough, why people keep leaving even though you gave them everything. Here's what you need to understand. Your capacity to love is not a weakness. Your empathy is not a flaw. Your sensitivity is not something to fix, but you have to direct it inward first. You have to give yourself to love you, so freely give others. You have to heal yourself before you try to heal anyone else. Because right now, you're pouring from an empty cup, and you're wondering why you're exhausted. Your healing comes from boundaries, from recognizing that love without limits isn't love. It's enabling. That compassion for others must include compassion for yourself. That saying no is sometimes the most loving thing you can do. You need to understand that you can be kind without being available to everyone all the time, that you can be empathetic without absorbing everyone's emotions, that you can be a healer without sacrificing your own well-being. The evolved harp knows when to play and when to be silent, knows that some people aren't ready for the medicine you carry, knows that your energy is sacred and not everyone deserves access to it. You don't have to harden your heart, but you do have to protect it. Because if your strings break, you can't make music for anyone. Your gift to the world is love. Real, unconditional, transformative love. You create spaces where people can be vulnerable, where they can heal, where they can become who they're meant to be. You're the harp that plays the song of the heart. And in a world that's becoming increasingly cold, transactional, and disconnected, your warmth is revolutionary. Your authenticity is radical. Your love is exactly what's needed. So now you know which instrument you are. You know the song you've been playing. And more importantly, you know the song you're meant to play. Because here's the final truth. You were never supposed to play alone. The drum needs a flute to add melody to rhythm. The piano needs a harp to soften structure with grace. We're all part of the same orchestra. And the most beautiful music happens when each instrument plays its true part. Don't try to be a different instrument. Don't try to be a different instrument. Don't apologize for the sound you make. Don't dim your volume because others can't handle your frequency. Play your instrument fully, boldly, authentically, because the world doesn't need another fake melody. It needs your true sound. So, which instrument are you? Comment below. And more importantly, are you playing authentically, or are you playing someone else's song? Think about that. Because your life, your real life, begins the moment you pick up your true instrument and play it without apology. And if this resonated with you, if you felt seen, share it with someone who needs to hear their own music. Because we all need permission to be who we really are. Subscribe if you want more deep dives into psychology, archetypes, and the hidden patterns that run your life. I'll see you in the next one. Keep playing your song.